Hello again, it's Tammy Gerges here. I am on day 3 of my 5-day challenge on how to find your hairstylist and love your hair. I'm here to help you if you are one of those people who cannot find a hairstylist that understands you, understands your hair, these kind of things. Sorry, I'm just gonna tilt that down. You see my friends behind me over there. Wigs in my, maybe the last day I'll put a wig on, I don't know. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about how to gracefully communicate with a hairstylist. All right, and how to know when to say no and how to say no, because those are two different things. You know, generally as women, I'm mostly talking to women, there might be a few men who are checking this out, and that's fine. If you can't find your barber or hairstylist or whatever you want to call them, then you can glean from this information as well. I'm just mostly directing this towards women because I am a woman and I mostly do women's hair. I have been trained by a barber and I do understand barbering techniques, but don't do men's hair as often as I do women's. So, anyways, I want you to know that, you may think, oh, well, you're a hairstylist, you're a cosmetologist, you don't get it, that kind of stuff. I do, okay? I totally understand your fear of going to a new hairstylist, of sitting in the chair and not knowing how to communicate and not knowing what to say, not knowing if. So for me, I learned early on that when I go sit with a new hairstylist, I do not tell them I'm a hairstylist because that does one of two things. It makes them super nervous because they are maybe haven't been in the industry for that long and they feel like, oh no, I can't mess up her hair, blah blah blah, which makes them sometimes mess up your hair because they're like so nervous about it, or it makes them arrogant. There's no in between if you start your conversation with, well, I do hair for a living too, but I'm just looking for someone to do my hair. It's a bad thing to do. So I learned early on not to do that. There are ways to say no thank you that are not so rude or hurtful, which I try to, like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't know about you, but I just don't. I'm like, I don't know. No, I don't want to hurt feelings. I don't want to make anybody cry. I don't want to make anybody have a terrible day. I'm one of those crazy people who I'd be standing in line at the grocery store and I'd see someone's purse or boots or hair and I'd be like, oh, that's beautiful. That looks fantastic on you. I just compliment people. I like to get a smile out of people. I like people to feel good about themselves, not bad. So that's part of who I am. And I want to teach you the skill sets I've learned. But first off, I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, okay? And this is part of my history. Sorry, I've still got the bad throat. So when we moved to upstate New York, in DC, if you watch day 1, you know a little bit of my history. So I moved down from Canada. In Canada, I worked in salons all over the place. I always had hairstylists who could do my hair. This wasn't an issue up in Canada for me. So I married my American airman, moved down to Tucson, Arizona. In Tucson, I didn't really do my hair in a salon in Tucson until because I was afraid. Okay. I just didn't know, how do you do this? I never had to when I lived up in Canada. For many years, I never had to search for a hairstylist. It was just, okay, who am I working with? I'm going to watch them and see what they're doing. And the ones that I think can work with my hair, I'm going to give them a try. Like it was easy. Um, so when I moved down to Arizona, you know, first off, we were trying to get the fiance visa when I was up in Canada, but then 9/11 happened. And I knew that my fiance would be going to war. Um, it was like, whoa, this is scary stuff, right? And I knew I couldn't stay up in Canada. And the fiance visa was taking forever. So I often say I was probably one of the last Canadians to get across the border to America with my driver's license. I didn't need my passport. I just needed to show my driver's license and I was good. Um, so I moved down. He was stationed in Tucson, Arizona. He had just arrived there and he was actually in TLF when 9/11 happened, and temporary lodging facility is what that is. And it was just, sorry, but it was kind of a hot mess for us. It was like, whoa, how do we take care of this? So we ended up getting into all sorts of immigration issues after that because we kind of cut corners in their system. So I go down to Arizona. We How did we do it? I want to say we changed our application somehow. And I know that I got my work permit, so my green card. No, that wasn't the green card. It was my work permit. The work permit comes first. And I got that while we were in Arizona, and I didn't have my license to do hair yet. I had to go through reciprocity to do that. So I had to communicate with the school I went to and all that kind of stuff. So that was in the process. I had filled out all the paperwork and started all of that going. And I assumed I would work in a salon, right? So I got a job in retail, selling women's clothing and women's accessories, and had fun with that for a little while. And then there was a posting for a job at a supply house. So they carried a bunch of different um, hair salon products, nail salon products, um, skincare products, all that stuff that's within the beauty industry. And they are the distributors to get it into the different salons, right? And they were looking for a sales rep. So, and honestly, the pay was more than I'd ever made. I was just like, holy, they're going to pay me how much? So I went and I interviewed for the job. The lady loved me. Um, I told her I don't know if I want to be in the salon or not. I'm still waiting on waiting for my license to be approved and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, well, that's cool. You having your license will help with if you stay with us and stay in the sales process and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so this was like one of the funnest jobs I ever had. Okay. So in Arizona, I got to drive around to all these different salons in my territory and hang out with them and talk to them about these products. And I actually ended up opening one huge account for the company. And I did really good at it. And I really loved it. And that is how I found a hairstylist in Tucson. I just sat and watched. I'm like, oh, okay, that girl, okay. I see her doing a lot of hair that's similar to mine, and maybe I'll give her a try. And I found my hairstylist, bang, right away. So I kind of thought that's the way it went. So we moved to California. I found out I was pregnant in Tucson. And then we moved to California where my husband was cross training to another language so that he could help fight this war. And I had my baby boy there and I worked on base at their salon there. So again, didn't have to worry about finding a hairdresser. Just got it done by the people I worked with. So then we moved to Europe. My hair was a hot mess in Europe. Not due to the climate, but due to not knowing how to find a hairstylist, not figuring it out. Even though I understood my hair, I still, at that point, I didn't know how to walk away before they got the scissors out. I never had the salon people color my hair because I could color my own hair. As you can see, I need a color right now. Look at that. Look at that. I need a color. But I'm getting my hair colored tomorrow by my girlfriend who we do each other's hair. I found her because she found me in my salon suites and started coming to me there. And over time, we just kind of trade off. She does my hair, I do her hair. So hopefully in tomorrow's live, you'll see me without dark roots. We'll see. So in England, I mostly stayed on base and went to different stylists there. And I ended up with haircuts that I didn't really want, but it was haircuts that they knew how to do. I ended up with that silly little stacked bob that Victoria Beckham, is that her name? Had all the time. And I just lived with it. I get it cut in the stacked bob because that's what they knew how to do. I'd let it grow out for a while and I'd trim it myself at home until I couldn't put up with it anymore. And then I go get another one done. That's just, it was what I did. Okay. Because I didn't know how to go about this. And I only had one salon choice at that time because going off base, then you were talking about paying in pounds, which is more than paying in dollars. And it was just no. So then we moved to Nebraska. And in Nebraska, we were here from 2008 till 2010. And I never really found a hairstylist then either. I'd gone to a few, but never really found, I didn't have bad haircuts, but I didn't find the right person for me because it's not just about if they can do your hair. It's also about if you get along with them, if they have the same values in life that you do. Like there's just so many other elements to it, right? I wanted a hairstylist that would ask me about my life and we could have a discussion. And that just never happened. I was always asking them and they tell me all about their lives. And I'm like, didn't like that myself. When I get someone in my chair, in the beginning, I need to know all about them because I'm doing their hair. And that is for me huge to know all about their lifestyle, their family, like just to know more about them personally. And if they're a right fit for me and I'm a right fit for them, 9 times out of 10, when they're telling me about them, a lot of things about me kind of fit into there. And then we can have conversations around those parts, which it does turn into a great conversation. Okay. That's what I was looking for, and that's what I was not finding when I was here. Then we moved to DC. DC prices were through the roof. It's very high cost of living there. We had rented out the house here, and were losing money on that because the rent wasn't covering our mortgage payments. It was like $200-300 a month, but it's still that's extra money. And then we rented a townhome in Alexandria that the rent for the townhome was higher than the mortgage for the house back here. So finances were extremely tight. I started homeschooling our son, who was in kindergarten at the time, which was a blast. But I just never got my hair done. We were there for 1 year. I did not get my hair done. I just let it grow. And longer hair for me as a hairstylist, I can trim it myself. I just can't do the very back. That's, you can't pop your head off and put it in front of you or anything. So I would just give myself some fresh layers, and my hair was, everybody thought my hair looked great. And so I just let it be longer. And so that's what I did there. Then my husband got a job in upstate New York. So we moved to upstate New York. And this is the first time that I really was more aware of what I was trying to do, trying to find a hairstylist. I thought, I've got to figure this out. If I'm not going to be working in the salon anymore, then I have to figure this out. And I did try to get a job in a salon in upstate New York, but finding a job there was like, it was really difficult. I just wanted part-time somewhere, and even part-time positions in retail and stuff like that. Like I applied everywhere and never even got an interview. It was crazy. And I don't know why. But I remember when we moved back to Nebraska from upstate New York, and I saw help wanted signs everywhere, and I was just like, whoa, there's lots of jobs here. There weren't any in upstate New York. I loved it there, but finding a job there was no thank you. And I did end up doing a few friends' hair on the side type of thing after a while. We were there for 2 or 3 years. But that's it. Okay. I wasn't in the industry. I was just doing hair on the side. So the first lady I went to, it was a matter of location. And in our church, I had had a couple of people tell me that they went to that salon and they really liked it. They didn't have a specific stylist that they loved. They just go there and go to whoever. And I was like, okay, I'll give them a try. So I went, and this young lady, well, I say young lady, she was younger than me, but I don't know how long she was doing hair for, but I don't think it was that long. And this was one of the times that I told her I was a hairstylist, and it just set, like, after I told her that, I saw the nerves come out. And by this time, we'd already gone through the consultation. She already knew what I wanted to do with my hair. I wanted to try an asymmetrical. I wanted to go shorter, like, let me see here. I wanted to go shorter on this side and then have it be longer on this side. Like, I kind of I have asymmetrical with how I style it now, but not how it's cut, which I learned through this process. Getting it cut asymmetrical is not my thing. So we did have a good conversation through the consultation. And through the consultation, I did not tell her I was a hairstylist, because sometimes we say things that it's like, why did I say that? That's what happened afterwards about me revealing that I was a hairstylist. And I also thought that we were comfortable enough together that I could tell her, but it backfired on me. So anyways, we went through the consultation. She was one of those girls that didn't really ask me questions. So I had to do my consultation. Like, I had to tell her how I wanted my hair done. She never asked, she never, that kind of stuff. I don't care for that. I want someone to ask questions. I want someone to clarify things with me. And she never did any of that. Some hairstylists get full on training on how to do consultations, which I did have up in Canada. And then I went into it deeper um, myself. Like I took more training after I got my license up in Canada about how to do a proper consultation. One of my favorite hairstylists is Sam Villa, and he he has taught me so much about how to properly consult people. And it's not just about hair. It's also about your lifestyle. How much time do you want to spend doing your hair? Do you use products in your hair? Like all these questions need to be considered. But anyways, she didn't ask anything. All she did was I sat in her chair and she said, "What do you want done with your hair?" I had some pictures. Pictures are good. Always take pictures with you. And one thing I've learned being a hairstylist is once you've built trust with that stylist, show them things that you hate as well. So now, if I was looking for a hairstylist and they did what I wanted the first time, the next time I'd say, okay, I want this. I want you to do these kind of pictures, like not just one picture either. Okay, so here's a key with this. A lot of people will take a picture and look at the face. Don't look at the face. If you see someone's, I don't have any pictures here in front of me. If you see someone's hair that you think, oh, I really like that. If you see them in a store, not in a magazine, and you see someone's hair that you're like, oh, I love your hair. Would you mind if I take a picture of your hair? And if you get a front view of their hair, then you say to them, I will redact your face if you want, which means block it out. And 9 times out of 10, they say, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry, just don't share it on the internet or anything. And I'm like, cool. I just want to show this to my hairstylist. So that's a way to, when you see someone whose hair you love and you think, oh, their hair is very similar to mine, take a picture of it. And even if they say no front pictures, take a picture of the back. Ask if you can just get a picture of the back and they can go like this and you can get a side view, that kind of stuff. But I know a lot of you are shy, quiet, introverted, and aren't going to do that. I'm one who will do that, okay? So look through magazines, and when you see a hairstyle that you think, oh, I like that, cover the face with your fingers or your hand, depending on how big the picture is, and actually look at the hair. Don't look at the face, okay? A lot of these people in these pictures are absolutely gorgeous. They really are. And I know that everybody on this planet is beautiful in their own way. Um, and you have to figure out what's going to work on your face shape, your hair type, all these things. So you need to cover the face with your hand, cover their face, look at the hair, and compare it to your hair. Okay. So, I've got very fine hair. Is this a picture of someone with fine hair or thicker hair or coarse hair? I don't know. If you don't know, then keep the picture. And you can ask the stylist these questions, but write them down so that you remember. Um, I have taken in kind of like a little scrapbook, like just a little page of different pictures on it and written the questions right beside where I just taped them on. I didn't glue them on, but you can glue them. You can be as fancy as you want with this. But I've written questions beside it just saying, I don't know if this is the same type of my hair or not. Can we do something like this? Those kind of things, okay? And as you get more comfortable with your hairstylist, if you have that kind of a page to show them, then on the other side, Put things that you hate. Okay. So, and another thing about the ones that you love, let's say you love the bangs but hate everything else. Put that on there and just say, I love these bangs, hate the rest. I love how the back sits, I hate the rest. Whatever it is that you really like about that hairstyle, but it isn't the whole hairstyle that you love. That makes sense. Because I've pieced together haircuts for people that way. Oh, you love the bangs there, but you hate this part. Okay, yep, 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 yep. We figure it out. And when they show me things that they hate, um, then I stay away from that. I'm aware. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a no-go. Um, and sometimes, because I'm not sure, sometimes I'll be going along, doing their hair, talking to them, and I'll be like, wait a minute, you said you hated this, right? They're like, yeah, okay, I won't do that, and move on. Because sometimes, as a hairstylist, when you get talking, for me, I tend to go faster when I'm talking. So when I'm chatting with somebody about life and blah 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 blah, I just keep going, going, going. I have to pay attention to what I'm doing sometimes. Like I have to like slow down and be like, okay, where am I going with this? If I haven't done their hair before. So sometimes I will be a lot quieter with a first time customer, sometimes not. I don't know. It's variable. So anyways, more about this young lady in New York. She is the one that I learned the most about how to interview my hairstylist, because she was the one I should have said right at the beginning, I should have known she's not asking me questions. She is, you know, just not the right fit for me. But I went ahead anyways. She took me to the sink, washed my hair, and it was as she was combing out my hair, I was babbling because I do that sometimes, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been doing hair for 30 years, blah 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 blah." And that's when I saw her I saw her shift. And I was like, "Oh, why did I say that?" So, that was not a good haircut. It was okay, but I had to do a lot of fixing. It's just partially my fault because I revealed that I was a hairstylist, and that got her very nervous, and it just I was like, "Okay, I won't be going to that salon again." So, I had to let that haircut grow out, and I did a crazy thing. I didn't trust anybody, and I had this dream because this is how the good Lord talks to me sometimes, and God gave me an idea for a perm. And I never, ever, 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 ever thought I would do this, but I gave myself a perm at home. Weird, right? But my perm idea was how to create natural looking curls instead of perm looking curls. And the way that I do it, I also create beach wave curls with it. And it was an idea. I went ahead with it. I tried it, and I'm like, whoa, that was the no, it wasn't the best perm I ever had. The best perm I ever had was up in Canada when I had a spiral perm, and I'd like put my hair on top of my head, and it was like all these curls. But yeah, that was fun. It was also torture. Spiral perms are torture. And this perm method that I do, I call it a stack wrap spiral perm, because I do this method called stack wrapping, and the pieces that I stack are the pieces that I spiral. And they are generally in smaller rod size, because natural curl, if you look at anybody's natural curl, it's generally not all the same type of curl. There's some looser pieces, some tighter pieces. So getting all the same curls when you're doing a perm, not a good idea. Okay, I digress. So From there, I gave myself a perm, trimmed my own hair for a while, let it grow out a bit, and I think it was probably about a year later that I went to another hairstylist. And this one, I basically mapped out what I was going to do. Okay. Number one, I went with more pictures. And that's the first time I did this little sheet where I taped them all on and wrote notes and stuff. And she was actually the third person that I went to see, the one that I went with. Because the first girl I went to, I just wanted a consultation, right? But a lot of places won't let you just schedule a consultation. That's just heads up. So I told them, I want a full consultation with this person. I I need to I need them to understand me. So I went for a consultation with this first young lady, and she was a little younger than I would have liked working on my hair. And same kind of thing. Like she didn't ask me any questions. Like they were very like, you know, very vague. Oh, like, okay, what do you want done with your hair? That's a question, yeah. But I need you to dig deeper. I need you to understand like where I was in my life, what kind of time I had to dedicate to my hair. And she could see that I colored my hair. She could see that I had an old perm in my hair. Like she never asked any questions about those. Um, she just didn't ask enough questions, period. And so instead of getting my hair cut, because I was booked in for a haircut, I think that's the time. There were the two times, and one of the times I asked for a shampoo set instead. So can you just like wash my hair and blow dry it and blah blah blah. So I did get a service done. Um and that was it. That was it. Thank you very much. I knew I wasn't going back. So then the next girl I went to, and I didn't go to the same salon every time because I didn't want them to see me in a weird way, I guess. I just felt uncomfortable with that. With um, Whereas when I worked at Regis, that was more acceptable. But I don't know. Maybe it was me. I don't know. So the next one I went to was a different salon, and it was like I don't know, maybe 6 months later, and went in for a consultation. She tried to take me right to the sink. And I had to say, no, 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 no. I want to sit down and discuss what we're going to do first, please. And she was like all bent out of shape about that. Oh, well, I don't know if I have enough time to. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I asked for a proper consultation. That's what I would like to get. And she, like, right off the bat, I was just like, no, I don't want to be. Um, I disagree. I mean, I know a lot of places have to do this in order for the hairstylist to increase their revenue. They will schedule a haircut in like while a color's processing, while a perm is processing. And I don't mind that as much in places that have assistants or shampoo girls or, stuff like that. But they didn't have any of that there. The girls were like on their own. And she had whoever had scheduled me for a shampoo, cut, and hairstyle and a consultation. in between her doing a color. And in my mind, that kind of process should take a minimum of 45 minutes. When you let a color process, that usually takes 30 minutes. So if it's a new customer, you don't do that. So right off, I was booked inappropriately. I knew that. So she did take me to her chair and she was just kind of rude and obnoxious and kept looking over at her color and looking at her timer and not paying attention to me. And I, she's like, okay, well, we know what we're going to do now. Let's go to the sink. And I did this. I went, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I forgot. I have to go pick up my son. And of course, this made her PO'd or whatever. And I happened to have $5 in my purse. So I said, here's $5 for your time, but I have to go. I apologize. Canceled the appointment, never went back. That was another way I got out of an appointment without hurting feelings, well, maybe I did hurt her feelings. I don't know. She was a cranky, bad word. So, anyways, then the next one I went to, by this time I had kind of gone through, I knew what I didn't want, okay, which you need to figure out for yourself. And you need to be vigilant in sticking by it, because by the time I went to the third stylist, my hair was a hot mess because, that I hadn't had it cut for a long time because I kept going to stylists and I'd, wait a month in between and then I'd go to a different one. And so went to the third lady and told her I needed a full consultation when I booked it online, or no, booked it on the phone. Nowadays, you schedule online a lot. So I recommend, so I have a scheduling software that people can schedule with me. And I recommend, if you do want like a full consultation, just call it a full consultation. That can take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on both of you, really, the hairstylist and the potential customer. And when you want a full consultation, they should not charge for it. If they're going to charge you for it, then walk away, unless you have the money to throw away. Okay. So the third girl I went to, number one, she invited me to come sit in her chair, which the other ones just kind of patted the back of their chair and said, yeah, sit here. Whereas she said something down the lines of, okay, Tammy, this is my station. If you want to have a seat right here, can I get you a coffee? Can I get you a water? Do you need anything? Where would you like to put your purse? Do you want to hold it? I can put it over here so it doesn't get fur all over it. Like that kind of stuff. She was personable. She was engaging. She was concerned about me, which I wanted. So that was, number one. I was like, oh, okay. So she put my purse to the side and she started, I think she got me a glass of water, but she's, after she did that, she kind of, put her hands in my hair and started doing this kind of stuff, just feeling it. And she was like, oh, is that like, that must be like a really super old perm in there now. And I was like, yeah. She goes, but you have a natural wave in there, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, I do. She's like, oh, okay. Okay, cool. She goes, okay, so what were you looking to do today? So I told her, I wanted it to be cut in a bob with long layers, blah, 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 blah. And I wear it off to the side. And she was like, okay. She goes, for your hair type, because you have very fine hair, but you have lots of it, I would actually recommend more of a undercut bob if you want to keep it at, that length, unless you don't mind it flicking out. And I was like, I kind of like it flicking out. She's like, okay, then with that kind of bob, On your hair type, we'd cut it more blunt. There is another one that is a beveled bob. However, with your hair type, the length of your bob will kind of disappear if we bevel it too much. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like she was just very knowledgeable and very helpful. So we had this great conversation. She asked me, are you married? Do you have kids? We chatted about my lifestyle, that kind of stuff. And she became my hairstylist. And it was about the second, I can't remember if it was the second or third time that I went to see her. I told her I was a hairstylist too. And she, like, at that point, there was no reason for her to get nervous because she'd already done my hair and I was coming back to her because I liked her. And she was actually saying that their salon was actually looking for somebody. And I was like, ooh, maybe I should get my license here in New York. And I can't remember, I think they did theirs through reciprocity as well. So I ended up not getting it because my husband got his contract ended and we ended up kind of floating around for a while and being like, oh, what are we doing? And he got a job back in Nebraska. So back to Nebraska we came. But anyways, in Nebraska, I was also able to find a hairstylist, but that time, so I did work, it was, no, when we first came back, I got a job as a receptionist in a salon at JCPenney, that's right. And it was after I worked at JCPenney, then I worked at JB's, and at JB's I had to leave because of the foster kids we had in the home. It was just they wanted me to work like full-time hours and I was like, I can't. I need to be taxi for these kids. Like when you're dealing with foster kids, the trauma, it's a lot. And we were dealing with a lot. So it was after I was done at JB's and I pulled all my customers to my home, did hair at home for a while. And it was during that time frame that I was like, I want to find a hairstylist, but I want somebody else. Because I had tried a few of the girls at JB's, but never really meshed, if you will. So I went to this other salon in Bellevue, which is, I'm in Papillion, so not that far. And I absolutely loved her. Same kind of thing as the New York stylist. She was very engaging, she right away was asking me questions. She checked off all my boxes. And one of the things that I want you guys to be able to do is to come up with your boxes that you need checked off before you will say yes. And so the course that I have is going to go into this in a lot more depth. I know I went into explaining about this to you a lot today, but this is what I'm trying to help you with, is not getting those haircuts that you're like, oh, I have to let it grow out. It's going to take forever. I guess I'm in ponytail hell for a while. Or if it's like way shorter, then I'm in hat hell for a while. Like, I just feel like too many people, a lot of people that I've talked to have said that this kind of thing that I'm offering is much needed because they're still searching for hairstylists. I don't know how long their search has been, but a lot of these people I've talked to aren't much younger than I am. They've been looking for a while, and they're out there. They are, and it doesn't really matter what your budget is, but a big part of this is you have to set your budget. You have to dictate how much you're willing to spend in your budget on your hair. and your hair needs, like whether that's getting colors or getting perms or getting Brazilian blowouts or like there's so many different things you can get done to your hair in the salon, and you need to figure out what your budget is for it and how you're going to spend that money. That is a huge part. And you can go to these low-end salons, but you're going to have to do a lot of interviewing in these low-end salons. And you're going to have to be very strict on saying, no, I need a full consultation. I need to figure out if we're a good fit for each other. Because if we're not, then no. You kind of have to be that person. And I'm sorry, but when you're shopping more in the lower end salons, that's what you have to do. Because there are diamonds in the rough in that realm. There really are. I was one of them a long time ago, and they can be found, but it takes a little bit longer. It's a little bit more dedicated time trying to find those people. And also being aware of people with hair around you, which is a lot of people, and watching people with hairstyles around you and just being like, oh, I really like your hair. Excuse me. Can I get a picture of your hair? Who's your hairstylist? Do you have their name? And if I use you as a referral, will that get you anything? Like some hairstylists have like referral programs, which I don't really have now because I'm broken ankle, can't really do much with standing and doing hair a lot. Today I actually have two people coming, so today's going to be a rough one. But it just it is. It is what it is. Referral networks are huge. I in my course, I'm going to talk more about it on day 5, but I'm going to have more questions you can ask, more like we're going to have a whole workbook available for you on all of these parts. We're going to go more in depth about how to figure out your hair uh, curl pattern, your uh, circumference, your density, all that kind of stuff. Because those are kind of key things to know about your own hair. And then I've also got questions that you can ask a hairstylist. So I can't remember where I was, but at one point, maybe it was in England. At one point, I said to the hairstylist, because I was kind of trying to check them out. And I said to her, I said, I have such thick hair. And she's like, oh, yeah, you do. I'm like, oh, okay, you should have corrected me on that. So, yeah, like you can ask questions where you know the answer and you will know if they don't, and they should. But it's one of those things that's difficult to know what they know. I, as I've gotten older, I love science, which is really bizarre. When I was in Alberta doing hair, I had this wonderful gentleman. His name was Martin. I miss him to this day. And he was a junior high school teacher. And I introduced him to camouflaging his gray, which I was basically doing with balayage, which I didn't even know. I didn't even know balayage was a thing. I just thought I was inventing stuff. But he said to me at one point, because I had said the comment, oh, I'm just a hairstylist. I don't know anything. And he's like, Tammy, or no, at the time I was Tamara, because I worked with two other Tammys. And he says, Tamara, he goes, girl, you've been through the equivalent of college biology. going through to get your cosmetology license. And I was just like, what? But he helped me to see that. He helped me to realize that I'm not a dumb hairstylist. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to all this knowledge. And it's important for, I don't want to say regular people, but people who have not been through my education. It's important for you to understand this stuff about your hair. Those of you that get it, those of you that think that this is a great idea, like I do, I am looking for beta testers for my course that I'm developing because I'm still in the process of developing and putting it all together. And if you are interested in being a beta tester with me, please send me a private message in Facebook. Where else is this? This is on YouTube. You can email me, and I'm going to spell this out for you. TAMI at TAMIGRGAS.com. All right. So send me an email just saying you're interested in being part of my beta group. I'm going to take a limited number of people, take you through the beta group, get your feedback on it, and things that you might see that you're like, well, you could have maybe told us a little more about this, that, or the other thing. I will add it to the group. Or to the course, and you guys will help me to perfect this course eventually. But right now, because you will come in at the beginning phase of this course, you're going to get like the best deal on the planet. So reach out to me. Let me know if you're interested. Again, my email address, TAMI at TAMIGRGAS.com. And I hope I hear from you soon. I'm going to get off here now. I've got some hair to do. And tomorrow's session will be a little bit later because I'm getting my hair done tomorrow. I think Summer's going to be here at 11. So probably 2 or 3 o'clock I'll be doing the live tomorrow. And tomorrow is day 4. Wow. Really? Day 4 already? Craziness. I hope this has helped you guys. Tomorrow we're going to talk about ways that you can look for a stylist. Ways that you can, there's a lot of different less expensive ways you can look. I've got all sorts of ideas for tomorrow. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. Don't know that I'll be using the whiteboard or not. I used it day 1 and day 2, but I think I'm kind of maybe done with the whiteboard for now, but I'll leave it there just in case I need it. If anybody has any questions about their hair, that's another reason you should email me, because if you have questions about your hair, then I will answer them in my lives, or maybe even interview you if you're okay with that, and talk about your hair and give you a consultation online. I'd love to help you out. So again, TAMI at TAMIGRGAS.com. I hope to get a bunch of emails from you. That's what I'd like to see. So I'm going to get off here now. See you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.